Hey, dude. I do not hear you, Ben. I don't hear you. Is it working on your side? It was working. You can hear me, but I can't hear you. Nope. Don't hear anything. And I don't know where Ryan is. Yo. Uh-oh, I don't hear both. I don't hear either of you. Okay, so there might be an issue on my side. Do you guys hear each other? Uh-oh, now I'm worried if it's me. Can you guys hear each other? Okay, you guys can hear each other? Alright, so that's my problem. Dang, man. Alright, that's bad. Let's see. Okay. That is really awkward. What do we do about that? And Ryan, your mic is muted right now. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. My mic is working, but I'm not getting. You hear me? Wow, I don't know why I don't hear you. Huh. It's very strange. Let me see. Is there something else open? I don't know what else it could be. It's very strange. Oh, Ben. I see. Oh, I see a waveform there. Yeah, there's something going on my side. All right, let me figure this out. Let's see. Let's see. That's weird. Let me try. I think I might try leaving and coming back. And Ryan's frozen. Is Ryan frozen on your side? Yeah. All right. Let me leave the chat, and if it disconnects, you guys will just have to rejoin. Let's see more options. Let me see settings. Here we go. Audio, speakers. Speakers work. The microphone works. General. What's up? Yeah, I'm running deaf here. Let me reset. Let me reset Hangouts and see if that helps. Boy, 1 second. I'll be right back. Aha. Okay, I think I hear you guys now. Oh no, you're gone now. Oh, there you are. Alright, cool.
Did you hear me, Eric?
I hear you now. Do you hear me? Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I just had to restart, of course. Okay, so
You got snacks.
let me change this now.
Okay. I have popcorn.
You got popcorn? Sweet.
Coke. Got a Coke. I got some M&Ms.
Nice.
Good idea.
All right. Good. All right. Let's change this to
Ready for the show.
this meat. Okay. There we go.
I've got the slate as well.
Oh, nice. Oh, look at that.
Fine.
All right, so we'll do that.
I've actually got too many pieces of kind of props. So
Do you have the knife? Yes, I want that so bad.
I need to send you one, man. I've got so many of them.
That was the best one.
I'll keep this around.
How do I make this go full screen?
And I don't think I have the. We probably do have the knife. I know definitely have the gun.
Yeah,
And the jacket.
I have the jacket up there on the wall. Can you see it? There you go.
Oh man.
I have right there.
What's Caroline up to right now?
She is resting because of she's back at work finally.
Whoa, Universal?
Yep, they're opening in like a week.
That's crazy. Are we gonna go back to working at Universal?
No, well, I mean, probably not. I might do horror nights, but I haven't been asked back. I don't have a job there anymore, so I have no idea what that would look like.
Well, we still seem to be having an issue streaming this thing, so let me try a few more things here. Just try cutting down the bit rate and see if that helps. It's really annoying. It's just incredibly like what? Just unpredictable. Maybe rescale the output? Maybe that's it. Let's rescale the output. Can't change it now. Okay. VBR. No, I think we want CBR. Okay, apply. Okay. Huh. Let me see what happens if I just make the Pizza Time logo full screen.
Man, we tried.
Yeah, we definitely tried. I mean, I think, I think I have all the pieces working. I don't know. You know, we had it earlier and now we don't. Maybe that's just how it goes sometimes. Dang, really unfortunate. Because we had it for a second, man. Quit that. Make sure I'm not running anything in the background. And I turned down the latency. So, I mean, unless it's a system resources issue. Yeah, I'm running at 100% CPU right now. Let me shut down a bunch of stuff. That might have something to do with it. OBS Studio really hogs a lot too. Alright, so maybe we'll just do that. Okay.
Is that just a demo running on Street Fighter?
No, that's the game. I think it's just the what before you press start, what it shows. High scores.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna hope
Do
this
you,
doesn't break.
do you have high scores saved on it?
No, it resets every time.
Oh,
I can save, but I just haven't.
yeah.
You have to, it's like a hotkey that you press in the arcade since it's an emulator.
Guys, I'll be right back.
Okay.
See what happens when I just close Firefox.
Ooh.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Let's see if that does anything.
45 seconds until our short film goes online.
Yep.
What are they going to think?
Yeah, are there just going to be people like on live telling us how much they hate it?
Yeah, I hope there's a lot of people who haven't seen it yet. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Never seen this YouTube premiere. 3, 2, 1.
That's right. Here we go.
All right, it's going.
Should we mute?
Yeah.
Yeah, just tell us if you need us, Eric.
Sounds good.
Pizza time.
Eric, it's funny because I feel like you're like 30 or 45 seconds behind me on the film, so everything's kind of delayed.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute it.
You're good.
Yeah, it says excellent connection in the live stream, so
Nice, awesome.
hope it stays that way. Yeah, you guys let me know when it's done because apparently I don't have the correct.
Oh, you're good.
I got my new headphones.
Oh, I got it now. All right, we are going public with live stream. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in for the live Q&A session. We have Ryan Pauly here, the director of Pizza Time. We have Ben Worley, who's the star, the leading man, who's also the composer, and then me. And you know me, I fell down the stairs. Let's see. So let me get this thing sized up. And here we go. Now there's going to be a little bit of a delay, so please excuse the lag. I'll try and get to as many of your questions as possible. But thank you for joining us, guys. We're live and you're visible now. So
Awesome.
Thanks for joining
Cool.
us.
Here we are.
We are.
Excellent. Yeah, Ben's frozen in time, but that's all right. We hear you.
Oh no.
He's got a permanently frozen, very very appropriate pizza time face on him right now.
But his headphones are very cool.
Yeah.
They're brand new.
So I wanted to just kick it off and just say, Ryan, this was your brainchild, and I wanted to ask, what inspired you to put this thing together?
Yeah, so I mean, Pizza Time was definitely something I wanted to do for a long time. I've made a lot of films. I kind of grew up on action films, specifically Jackie Chan. Always just, my dad always took me to Jackie Chan movies growing up, kind of grew on that. But I had never made an action film. I had always kind of been scared to make an action film because almost this kind of thing where I needed to be perfect and I didn't have access to talented individuals who knew how to make action films, so I was kind of scared to do it myself, and kind of stuck to doing kind of cheesy YouTube videos with my friends, which we loved growing up, but I just still had the itch, and so I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it right, so did a little Kickstarter. Eric, you had worked with my buddy Andrew Lewis, who is one of the producers, just on I can't remember if it was Blindsided or what it was, but we called you, and I know I really wanted to be at least something with some sort of talented individual who could bring their expertise in action cinema to a role and sort of play a professional badass. And then you have your Pizza Time, your Pizza Man, who was your everyman, the kind of spirit of Jackie Chan, and a regular guy who was put in this extraordinary situation. But yeah, and I'm, of course, without the skill and talent of Jackie Chan.
We're all striving for that, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's kind of the origin of it. But we had a ton of fun, and it's definitely the first of many action films that I'll be making, and had a ton of fun. So
it was fun for all of us, man. And I wanted to ask Ben too. Ben, when Ryan approached you about this, what did you think, and what did you think was in store for you?
First of all, am I still frozen?
No, you look good right now. You're moving.
Oh, great.
Yeah, you're animated.
So when I think he just reached out for music, and then I read the script, which I rarely do. I hate reading scripts. It doesn't give me anything musically. So, but it was Polly, so I was like, I'll read it. It's really short and seems fun. And I think it was like a paragraph in, and I was like, oh, I should probably play this guy. And so then I immediately called and was like, obviously I'll do the music. I was never not going to do the music, but can I please play the pizza guy? And I was so we were really planning on using a stunt person, and I don't know if Eric would have a problem with that, so I definitely need to check with Eric. And I think everyone, including me, was terrified that Eric would hate me, or that Eric wouldn't be able to work with me because I'm don't know anything about stunts.
Yeah, and I think I remember that because I was like, I think it could be cool. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, the more I loved someone who didn't have any experience doing an action movie playing this role. Almost, I don't want to say I'm putting myself into the shoes of this character,
right?
But it was kind of similar to how I was thinking of the film itself as a very normal person against the professional, and sort of using their environment and sort of the sort of comedy that comes from the props and the environment and that kind of thing for him to get out of the situation. So I think it was super perfect, and you're awesome in the role. And I think Eric, when I came to you originally, you were kind of thinking, oh well, especially something like Rope-a-Dope, you're used to playing sort of the comedy action guy. Yeah. And so in this role, it's you're playing the straight man, which I think was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you called me and you said I want to do an action comedy, first thing I said was you're insane because that's the hardest genre to make, and number two, you came to the right guy, but then I said, casting is everything for this, because like you mentioned, you're casting, someone like Ben, who you're putting actually in a very difficult role. It's a very difficult role to act out a fight scene as if you don't know how to fight, but then play it off realistically without a stuntman. Also, there's no stunt doubles in this. I know that I wanted to give you one, but you refused it. We had 15 body doubles waiting for you outside in the trailer, and you said, "No, I'm going to do it all myself." And I respected that. And
I insisted on being thrown into concrete floors.
Yeah.
Who has a concrete floor in their home? Like purely concrete. There was no carpet. Anyway,
it was a harsh environment. We got Legos everywhere. We got a big glass table. It's not a friendly place to do stunts.
No.
But keep in mind too that a lot of Jackie Chan's movies, he wasn't really doing martial arts a lot of the time. You look at films starting with, I don't know what, I guess Dragon Lord, and then Project A, and these aren't really martial art. He's not really doing martial arts in these. He's sort of just fighting, and this is sort of the style that we went for with Pizza Time. And you pit him against a trained killer like myself. I know I have the face where I'm not gonna like you, like I'm gonna hate you. I have that face. I have what's called resting asshole face, RAF. But I must say, as the on-set stunt coordinator, you did a bang-up job, Ben.
Thank you,
Ryan. What are your inspirations, man? I mean, you talked about Jackie Chan, but I'm looking at the font of Pizza Time, listening to the music, and I want to hear Ben's thoughts too about his musical inspiration for how he composed the soundtrack.
Yeah, I know. When the sort of my idea for the themes of this film sort of came, it was sort of like a very John Wickian sort of modern action film put against a very classic, the Jackie Chan style of shooting it, which was like, on sticks, wide angles, sort of keeping it static or doing really simple camera moves, that kind of thing, but with that really modern, obviously, I mean, I think you could watch this and say, oh yeah, John Wick was one of their major inspirations for the look, the cinematography, the lighting, the colors. But I'm very much like a fan of the 80s and John Carpenter. He was, I know on my list of films that I gave Daniel, our DP, to sort of watch before, there's definitely a few John Carpenter films on there, Escape from New York being a big one, with the sort of, he's always shooting anamorphic wides. It's always that super stylistic, contrasty look. The music is always just, and so yeah, and the music I gave for Ben, it was a very like synthwave inspired playlist that I gave him to listen to. Different John Carpenter tracks, some like Mitch Murder, different stuff like that. That is sort of that, a lot of 80s stuff, but also a lot of modern stuff that is sort of homage to the 80s sort of synthwave kind of stuff. So I definitely wanted it to feel like you were starting in this pizza world, and he's exiting this, sort of 80s inspired pizza world and entering John Wick, when he arrives at that house. It was also great having your lead actor doing music for the film. It was kind of something I was a little nervous about, because I was like, he's gonna be seeing his performance and be, very critical of his own performance and asking for edits. But Ben I feel like he's good at compartmentalizing those two roles, because right when it was like time for a composer, Ben, it was just like, let's hear some cool music, and
that's true.
I loved it.
I am that way. I wish I could find. I should have thought of this before, but my brother has the story clocks things. I actually went through several of the tracks that Ryan sent me, and I used a story clock to map out like where everything was panned, the way that John Carpenter, because John Carpenter back then panned the shit out of everything. So it was like there's like hi-hat over here, like a few weird things in the middle, but it's all spread. So there's a huge, like, John Carpenter is definitely like the biggest inspiration for the music. But I tried to make it like if like John Carpenter did an arcade game, was kind of what was kind of where we ended up, I felt like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, John Carpenter kind of inspired an entire generation of filmmakers and musicians, it seems. So
yeah.
I I was heavily inspired by him many times too. So, okay, let's take a couple questions. Simon Leach was the first one up. He asked, "How long did it take to make?" Ryan, it's a blur for me. Perhaps you can remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah, totally. It was definitely a blur. The actual production was 4 days. We did 3 days at the house doing the main action beats, and then we did one day at the pizza store for the opening, and then some pickup stuff. There's some stuff with Ben's hand and at the curb and stuff that I ended up doing. Everything at the pizza store that you see as Ben, that's actually me, because we weren't showing his face. And we were saving money by not having to pay for hotels, because Ben and Eric are both West Coast and we shot in Texas. But yeah, it was 4 days of production, and then we did, a few rehearsal days, one before, right before production, and then like a few weeks before we brought you guys down for a few days. So that was a ton of fun. We have a few behind the scenes videos, which I don't know if you're going to put up on your channel, Eric, but feel free. If not, they're all over the internet. So
Yeah, I'll put
there's some cool behind the scenes stuff that you guys can watch.
Nice. I can drop that on
That goes over the rehearsals. So
excellent. Here's another question, probably for you also, Ryan. This is from HMC Indy, my buddy Mikko in Finland. Hey, what's up, guys? I was wondering how many pages the script was, and does it match the end result, and how closely? Does the script feature that same tone as the end result?
yeah, I mean, we were pretty close to the script. I think the only thing that really changed from the script was just some specific locations and little gags here and there.
I feel like we amended the script really fast.
Well, no, it's if you read the script, it's super close still.
That's crazy.
There's just gags here and there that I was really, it was really important for me to have that collaboration on set, especially in that first rehearsal, for us to kind of take the script and see how we can fit it into the environment. And
the location change, which is what originally messed us up.
Yeah, and that ended up not being the big change. Was the staircase was huge instead of being 3 stairs. It was a huge staircase, and it ended up working out. But the script, I think I can actually pull it up right here. I think it was about 10 pages. I'll get the exact. I can share the screenplay too. The screenplay ended up being. I think about 10 pages. And like I said, we stuck pretty close to it. The end time for the film was about 10 minutes. So, I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah. Ben, I think this one's for you. This is actually a wardrobe question, but I remember you had a lot of input into your characters. So Sean Duggan asks, I was kind of curious with Eric's character dressed in track pants, what looked like running shoes at the door, and doing the hockey shirt over the head and knee thing, sports-themed hitman. And he also asked, and there was also a question about why we left our shoes off at the door.
Oh, well, that you should. If you know anything about film, you should know why I took my shoes off. Because classic, like that's just I immediately understood that, because I feel like every film I've ever been in, I've not worn shoes. Just because what's worse for a character than not having shoes on?
Yeah, it's the Die Hard.
I think for me,
right?
it was the combination of Die Hard, and then also the fact you're wearing socks and you're slipping around the house the whole time.
Pizza socks too.
And the little gag with the pizza socks, and I just like the idea of the hitman. In my head, the joke was the hitman. Of course, he's going to be stealthy. He's going to take off his shoes so he can be quiet in the house. And then the pizza guy sees that there's shoes next to the door, so he's being polite by taking off his shoes.
It was a huge plus for me, for acting wise, because I think that if I had to have worn shoes, I would have tried to put like slip things on the bottom of them. So because sliding around on the floor added so much more comedy to what I could do. Because in contrast to Eric being like really like balanced and stoic the whole time, like he falls, but it's not the same way I fall. And I don't know. I think like it worked perfectly for the thing that we were doing. By the way, I have right there is the Pizza Time jacket.
Oh yeah.
And that's the one. That's the one with the knife hole in the arm.
Nice.
Ploy of the month. Oh, the
Nice.
employee of the month photo.
Stoned employee of the month.
All right, here's a good question. This is a stunt question. I'll answer this one. So Punch Kick Philosophy asks, how much breakaway glass did you all go through when Eric leaped through the table?
One?
We went through one, and they actually ordered two just so that they could punish me a second time. And we went through that thing the first time, and we spent a lot of time preparing that table, making sure that table was going to break in all the exact places. Because, man, when I got that table, that was the most hardcore table I've ever felt in my life. Like, that's a table out of like a Romanian castle from like the 1500s.
Yeah.
And so we spent a lot of time scoring it and making sure that it's going to break apart. What was the gentleman's name who did the prop work?
Rudek. He built it. He had never done like stunt props before, and so he built this beautiful, table out of oak. And we actually still have it now with the real pane of glass in it.
Oh, gorgeous.
This beautiful table, but he ended up sort of taking it apart and then putting it back together with just the little dowels. So basically it'll fall apart if you hit it, but it's still it's not like balsa wood. It's very, very hard red oak.
It really is.
But you know it,
heavy.
Eric. I mean,
looks so big.
I knew right when you went through it that we only needed one take. We still have the extra, sugar glass here. I want to do some sort of prank with it, but maybe one day.
It was also a really thick piece of glass. I remember that and looking at it going, dang, that thing is made to be shipped. And I remember hitting it, and there's a pop when I hit it. And, all was fine, but, that breakaway glass sometimes can be, it can cut you up if you're not careful. All right, Shane Newville's got a question here. He says, I noticed the pizza slice that Eric eats is a different color, much like old cartoons. Much like, this guy's an animator, by the way. Much like old cartoons, much like old cartoons where what discolored thing will move. Was the rest...
That's exactly like what it is. Oh my god.
Was the rest fake, or did it have many takes replacement slices?
Oh, that's great.
That's actually really funny because we ended up we had all these custom pizza boxes that were Pizza Time branded, and we ended up ordering a bunch of Domino's large pizzas, but they had glued basically all of the pizza slices down except the one that he's taking, so it doesn't slide around. And then they were just replacing that one piece. He would spit it out, throw it away. We do another take, we put another slice of pizza there, so it was never matching exactly. But it's really hilarious that on one viewing someone can notice that pizza slice.
Yeah, that's the animator's eye. Yeah,
I kind of love it. I would still leave it in if we had the chance, though. That's really funny.
I wanted to give a shout out to Barry Linden for his donation. Thank you, sir. Okay, we got a question from Turbo Victim. It says, how much did the movie cost to make? This is super secret information, or can we let people on?
No, that's okay. I mean, we did a Kickstarter and we raised how much did we raise in Kickstarter? It was I think it was 15 grand.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I should know that. Our goal was 15,000 on Kickstarter, and we reached that and then some. And then our production company ended up putting, and myself, another 10 or 15,000 into it. So it was around 30 grand total, which is by far the biggest short film budget I've ever had.
There were so many people that donated time and equipment and things, and as well.
Totally.
And my cousin worked on it, and he told me on set one night, he was like, dude, I've worked on professional car commercials here in Dallas that don't have this much gear, that don't have all of this stuff available to them. And I was like, wow, it really put it was also, I'm one of the few sets where every light's rigged. They had all the rooms were set and ready to go, which is never how I'm always used to just changing it every time.
Yeah, we knew how blessed we were to have that kind of money for a short film, especially one that was 3 or 4 days of shooting. and we had so many amazing crew members that were coming out, free of charge, just just to put the money on the screen, really. And so we kind of treated it like we were trying to treat it like a pretty legit feature film, almost like practice for our first feature, because I've never directed a feature. But we wanted to treat all the crew right, like obviously have really solid meals and have a legit schedule and sort of treat it like a legit feature film, which I think and I felt really good after the shoot, especially just hearing all the crew, how much fun everybody had. And it's one of those things that feels like you go to camp for a week and you're doing something all together, like contributing this incredible kind of film. So I don't know, I was super happy with what we were able to create with the budget we had.
Yeah, you guys shot with there are some filmmakers in the audience here too, so can you talk about what you shot with and just give the specs with that?
Yeah, so our production company actually owns an ARRI Alexa, so we shot on Alexa, which is awesome. And then the lenses we shot on were Kawa anamorphics, which are these really kind of funky Japanese anamorphic lenses from the 80s that we ended up renting from actually a really good rate from one of our sponsors, DC Camera, who helped us out with some lenses, which is amazing. But my cinematographer is Daniel Ruth. And he did an incredible job, sort of, kind of bringing my vision to life with the visuals. Very 80s looking. A lot of comments we got on originally when we shared the video was like a lot of like, oh, they're trying to be Edgar Wright, or they're trying to do John Wick, or they're trying to do this or that. But I'm really happy with the look of the film, and there's. That's probably all I can say gear-wise. There's so much different stuff that went into it, but I mean, it was mostly the Alexa and Kawa anamorphics on a tripod. So that was most of the film. Yeah.
Got a question from Punch Kick Philosophy. A quick one. How much raw footage did you shoot? What's our shooting ratio, Ryan?
So much.
I don't know what the ratio is. I don't know if they make fun of me or if they like this about me, but my producers and my DPs always say that I'm like a one-take wonder.
Yeah.
I know what I want, and once I have it, I'll cut and move on. So I know the ratio. It wasn't that drastic. It's probably.
It wasn't.
I would say maybe 4-1. Something like that.
That's really low. That's really low. I mean, as a performer too, I can't tell you how much. that is music to my ears when someone says, "Hey, look, I just want to get it as quickly as we can," because we've all worked with these directors that are perfectionist visually, and it's almost like, oh, a guy's falling through a table, but the lighting wasn't perfect. Well, you know what? We only have one more table, so get your lighting right and just accept it. So we appreciate that on the performance side.
Totally, and I'm a big believer in sort of doing as much as you can and prep and thankfully we had a pre-light day and we were able to rehearse, and I think that went a long way in terms of the speed of our shoot and being able to get everything that we did in those 3 days. I know the last day we were rushing by the end of it because we were racing against the sun. That whole stairwell scene, we were just stressed out trying to get it done so we can shoot the exteriors, but
I remember that night, that part, because all Ryan and all the producers were trying not to let me realize how rushed they were, so that I would just deliver a good performance. And then I finally got Grant to tell me why no one was talking to me, and he was like, "We're trying not to rush you because we're trying to get to this one everything." And I was like, "Oh, it's fine." And then I think we got it done in the next 2 takes, and then Eric did the stair fall or whatever. That was a good.
The stair fall, Eric. I would love to talk about that because I know I was stressed out. First time working with a stunt person, and it went from falling down 3 or 4 stairs to this new location, falling down an entire flight of stairs, worried about the location, worried about you, and you're like, no, let's just do it.
it's one of those things, when you get a stunt guy in your shoot, who just, I love the medium and I love the project, and to me it's like, hey, let's do another take of that stair fall, because it's like, I don't know, if you're a DP, you should do another take. If you're a stuntman, you should do another take. Just
everybody talks about Eric's fall, but no one talks about how I ran up those stairs in socks.
No, that one. No, honestly, when I look at
with
that,
my eyes closed.
yeah, when I watch that, every time I cringe, man. Seriously, I cringe.
I was
With your eyes closed.
I was so scared my knees are gonna get destroyed.
Yeah.
And
All right, we got a couple more questions. They keep coming in.
yay.
HMC Indy
That's awesome.
is asking, awesome, did you ever consider trying to figure this one out as a feature film? And did you try figuring out different avenues for releasing, or was it straight to YouTube?
Of course not. Never thought about it as a feature once.
Nope.
I'll answer the second one first because that was easy. I submitted to like a ton of festivals. Fantastic Fest was my sort of the holy grail. I thought it would play perfect for Fantastic Fest. It's a local festival. We have a few connections. Ended up not making it into a ton of festivals. We made it into 3 festivals. One was Austin Film Festival, and then what was it? There was one called Press Play in Dallas, and then the Fargo International Film Festival, which is kind of fun. But we got into 3, and we won awards at all 3. We won, a Best Short award at the one in Austin, Best Editing. Fargo, we won Best Comedy Short, and then was the Press Play, we won Best Cinematography and Best Editing. So,
Nice.
Which that's cool. It's nice confirmation that people are enjoying it. But we always knew that the online presence of this film would be the best. So we released it through another YouTube channel called Film Riot. We had some incredible friends there at Film Riot that let us release it through there. And then, it's having a second life here on Eric's YouTube channel, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And feature film wise, originally I wasn't thinking it'd be a feature film, but I'm actually writing and developing a feature film version right now, which sort of expands the universe. The short film is almost like
I get to play the hitman in that one, right?
Yeah, we're switching roles. Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm having a lot of fun writing the feature right now. It's sort of the short film. The segment in the story, the short film kind of plays almost like a break into Act 2 in the feature. And the characters are more fully fledged characters and not just archetypes like they are in the short film.
Maybe I'll get a line.
maybe 2 or 3 lines.
Yeah,
Maybe
totally.
2 or 3. Oh my gosh.
And I'm saying, here's what I say about these film festivals too. I don't know why they don't have a facial hair film festival. I think this film may have won it with my beard. Oh wait, you didn't have a mustache, did you?
No,
We cut the mustache
we thought
off.
we were going to.
That's
I
right.
flew to Dallas with the mustache. And we took the
Yeah.
photo.
All right, we may not have
And I
won that
guess
festival then.
Ryan just,
Yeah.
I think your beard might have been good enough to pull us through, Eric.
yeah.
Well, I'm just there to
just
support
a little.
I'm just there to support your mustaches and whatever I can do. All right, Paul Turner's got an interesting question. He says, "Did Octavius have a backstory?"
Octavius.
I think he's talking about the
Orlando.
Yeah,
Orlando, yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
No, I mean the backstory. I kind of wanted purposely have that mysterious, but in my head he was always like a drug lord. In the feature, he definitely has a backstory. I don't want to reveal it yet, but I always imagined he was some sort of criminal, and the hitman was hired to take him out. And
I never thought about that.
But yeah, I mean, it could be whatever your heart desires. You just know there's a hitman there who's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And he gets thwarted by a pizza guy.
Yeah.
I had a friend watch it who interpreted Eric's character as just a robber. He did not get that he was a hitman. He just thought, oh, that guy's robbing his house. And it's like, he doesn't even have you're not stealing anything. Anyway, go ahead.
You expect him to look like the Hamburglar?
Things, yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because we did have this conversation of, should I have a beard? right? Because in my head, I'm thinking, well, a good hitman would probably shave and cut his fingernails, and he'd do all that stuff before a hit. But then you said something to the tune of like, no, you don't give a shit. You're some like Russian kind of hitman. Just go for it. Kill the guy.
And that evolution was fun to me too, because in my head, originally when I wrote the script, I like basically saw it as John Wick, a assassin that would be a part of that organization. But then the more we talked about it, and the more we were talking, as I was talking to Lizzie, our costume designer, I was thinking of like, oh, I want to find like a suit that it's like really flexible and can have stunts done in it. And then Eric, I remember you saying like, what if we didn't do the suit look, because I feel like it'd be too on the nose, and like obviously that's so popular right now. And so I thought the Russian tracksuit kind of thing, it's much more like classic. We haven't seen it in a while, so that excited me. And there's a sort of comedy to that in itself that I like as well. So I was really happy that happened as well.
I have to say too, there was a funny moment when you said, "Hey, can you go and figure out which tracksuit you want?" And it was this very strange moment where it was like, it's a black tracksuit. What do I need to try on? And your wardrobe,
there were like 15.
Your wardrobe lady had this
so many.
Comedic Austin Powers lineup of black and white black tracksuits with white stripes. And we went through like 15 of those things, and I started getting kind of picky, going like, well, I kind of like this one, but the shoulders are a little bit narrow, And we ended up picking one that is the one that you see.
She did a great job, man. Because I do remember that too.
Lizzie and I spent easily an hour trying to choose my jeans. So, like, it was every costume took forever.
Great job.
All the details in the movie, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Especially our makeup and stuff is really, that's the best makeup I've ever had on a movie, for sure. As far as continuity goes and keeping track of like what. Even though the blood isn't necessarily realistic, because you wouldn't bleed that much immediately, but it's movie blood.
Yeah.
So I feel like it worked really well.
Yeah,
don't get too
don't think about
what's realistic.
Yeah.
Because the YouTube comments will tell you that, oh yeah, he got stabbed in the arm. What happened to that? Why isn't he holding his arm?
Yeah,
I'm like, shut up.
I am though. I don't use my arm at all for the rest of the movie.
Oh man.
The makeup. Who did the makeup? I'm sorry, I forgot her name.
So Megan DeBond was the head of makeup. She was awesome.
I spent a lot of evenings with her in that chair. It felt like a lot of evenings where she was delicately putting the glass pieces, because I believe we had to clean it all at one point and shoot some extra stuff and then put it all back on. But nothing was nearly as bad as putting that pizza in my face after you smacked that pizza on me. Because if you have a beard and you get pizza in your beard, it's like kryptonite. All right, Shwe Pri, I don't know how you say your name, sorry, but it says, whose house is this? It was amazing to look at.
Yeah, so we went through a lot of, we originally had this like crazy James Bond villain-looking house that was sort of donated to us. We were really happy to be shooting there. We rehearsed there, and then due to like a family tragedy, they wouldn't let us have the house anymore. Like, this is like 5 days before we shoot. We ended up, it was a week before we shot. And then Lindsay, who works here at our production company, who was script supervisor, she just hit up one of her friends who has this incredible house. We looked over there, and it was perfect. It was even better than before. Completely different look. But yeah, we ended up paying them a location fee, and we paid for them to stay at a hotel while we shot there. But it was still, we're shooting an action film in there. They were very, very gracious to let us shoot there. But yeah, I love that house, man. I'm actually thinking, like, for the feature, I'm like, I wonder if we can get that house again. Literally reshoot the short film, perfect it for the feature film.
Yeah, it has so much character. And the team spent so much time making it look lived in a different way.
It was empty when we got there. So the art department completely filled up that house, which is nice.
That was amazing. I remember specifically being blown away by the lighting in the kitchen. What they figured out how they made it look, and it's dark but still has like light coming in. I don't know. I really enjoyed watching the lighting guys work and them and Daniel designing where everything goes and stuff.
Yeah, they were on point.
That was really fun.
Killed it.
It was really fast too, because one issue with shooting action is that if you are inundated with constantly doing lighting changes, then if you're trying to shoot small pieces of action, it can be very difficult to piece it all together. But Daniel, being a very kind of collaborative filmmaker, the entire crew did an entire walkthrough of this action scene for a day, and this is how we choreographed it. I mean, we didn't really come in with any kind of ideas. I didn't come in with a choreography in my head. It's like the location is a character. So it had whatever the action was. If you're doing an action comedy, you absolutely have to live within the location. Otherwise, you're fighting in the middle of a room and it's like the location doesn't exist. It had to be a character. And so that, the ability for us to come in, I think it was the day before or maybe been the week before. I can't remember, but I think we came in the day before because we lost the old location, came in and just walked through the whole thing. And Daniel would say, okay, I'm going to shoot it like this. I'm going to set up lighting here. And then, Ben and I would work out some choreography. We would say, hey, we could shoot a coverage like this. Let's get an insert here. And it's that kind of collaboration that allows you to do action comedy, because otherwise you don't really have action comedy. You have to have everything kind of lined up and everybody's got to be on the same page and do a full tour of the entire thing. And then shooting it honestly, it's I know it took a long time. These were late nights, but there weren't many questions when it came to actually shooting it.
No.
Yeah, super smooth.
It's all nerves from that point on. It's getting the nerve to actually go down the stairs. It's getting the nerve to actually catch a wine bottle thrown at you that doesn't feel like it's rubber at all. It feels like it's real, and it's stuff like that. I think is what you run into of like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do, but my body won't do it because it's fearful that I'm going to get hurt. That was the only thing I ran into. Everything else was like a dream as far as like logistical stuff and what we're shooting and when and what the angle is. And you're right, there were no questions.
It was
Eric
way
and
too
I already
smooth.
knew what we were doing.
It was way too smooth. Every moment I was like, it's going way too it's going way too well.
Yeah,
what's
something's
about to
wrong.
go wrong?
Yeah.
And nothing did, which is great.
Yeah.
Maybe the one thing that went wrong was the knife rig in your arm that they had. Lizzie ended up rigging,
Would not
and
stay on.
we caught up with the schedule, and it was all fine. So
It ended up being with like fabric, tape, all of this stuff, rubber bands rigged underneath the jacket to keep it staying on.
Paul Turner asks, will there be a blooper reel? I would love to add some more content, some behind the scenes, and
Is there any bloopers?
Are there?
I'll send you all that stuff. I'll send you all that stuff, Eric, if you want to put it up on your channel.
I would love to.
Yeah, there's blooper reel. We got really long, 40-minute behind the scenes. It's super in depth. So
I want to watch that. Relive it.
do it. PizzaTimeShort.com. Or Eric Jacobus' YouTube channel.
Just a couple more quick ones. We got Shane Newville in the donation. He says, go buy yourself a pizza. Thank you, Shane. Simon Leach, how did you all meet?
How did we all meet?
How do we all meet?
That's a hard question because we all three met in person at that first location for the rehearsal, first rehearsal.
Yeah, we just kind of wandered in and showed up and met each other, made a movie, huh?
Yeah.
No, there was a lot that went into this.
Yeah, totally. But yeah,
I
it's
know
all through this film. So
I know for me, Seth, my brother Seth was like, I asked him who Polly was, and he was like, some cool filmmaker from Texas, and I was like, cool. Sounds great.
love it. And Ben, I actually used some of your stock music in a video, prior to meeting you or working with you, and then Eric, I just followed Eric on the internet from watching his work, and we all met through this film. So super fun.
There it is.
Super fun.
I wanted to ask Ben a question. So, what was your philosophy when you made the music? You talked a little bit about the process, but what were you thinking because you're scoring an action comedy. Obviously, there are thousands of ways to score a comedy. Did you have some kind of comedy in mind as you're doing? Because John Carpenter didn't really make many comedies, you know. So what were you thinking of when you put music to this thing?
John Carpenter didn't make comedies, but he absolutely didn't shy away from a joke, and didn't shy away from like the comedy in a situation. Especially, I can think of a lot of, like, with Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell really did a great job of bringing out comedy in an action sequence. But the music, I mean, pretty much, like, line number one in my contract is I don't score jokes. So that was, I mean, that's sort of in the back of my head, my approach is that I'm not trying to make funny music. I think, to me, with Pizza Time, the comedy from the music comes from the fact that it sounds like he ripped it out of an 80s movie and put it in there. The comedy comes from the fact that it's so thematic and so specific to the arcadeness of it, and the like, it's so in on the vibe that it's kind of its own, just by how, like, committed it is to the aesthetic. I think that's where the comedy comes from, and also to make. I think for you to laugh at anything, you have to take it seriously, and I know that makes no sense, but it's like, you can't, if you don't respect or think that a comedian is cool just by, like, looking, like, by what they say or what they look like or whatever, you probably won't laugh as much. But if you think they're really cool and take them seriously, you're going to laugh at everything they say. And that's what the music did for this, especially for your character, Eric, is I tried to make the Hitman stuff really genuinely serious and almost a little scary, so that the music is always entirely focused on the tension. I don't think there's a single moment in the film that I scored that isn't just trying to add to the tension of it. Purring, that's, to me, the da 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 is directly scoring the pizza guy's determination in him delivering this pizza on time. So that's, I think, is part of the comedy, as Ryan and I talked about. Like, the emotion of this is not at all that he's going to get murdered. The emotion is supposed to be that he's trying to deliver this pizza, and that's what's important to him. And so the music, I think, reflects a lot of, like, the inner mission of the driver.
Fantastic. I mean, it shows, because I don't know when the last time somebody made a decent action comedy with a good soundtrack was, but I think you nailed it with this one.
The only thing that I regret, and we did, like, a couple months later or maybe a year later, I did a live stream of the score, and then I did a remix, and Ryan loved it, so I made a whole album called Pizza and the wherever you listen to music. And it is sort of a continuation. It was kind of like how John Carpenter's Lost Themes. It was sort of like that. Like, I just made music that would kind of be in the movie. But the only thing I didn't do musically that I wish I had, but I didn't have the ability to, was saxophone. We talked early on about putting saxophone in the score, and I never did it because I didn't have, at the time, I just didn't know how. I didn't have a saxophone. I didn't have anybody that I could hire to do it.
Or like a wailing, like, guitar.
Yeah, or guitar. We talked about a lot of, like, action-y stuff, and I just never made it in. I think I focused more on the arcade style and all synths. And that was one of my first scores that very little of it is programmed. Most of it is played by hand in the synth that I can't. It's right here. You can't see it. I can't turn it to show you, but it's an MS-20. Korg MS-20 is pretty much all you hear in Pizza Time is that, and a couple of samples that I. Really simple. There's not a lot going on as far as instrumentation wise.
I'll tell you guys a secret. The instrument that I played, and I was first chair, 6th and 7th grade, was saxophone.
No freaking way. That's hilarious.
You could have pulled it out for this.
Yeah, you could have totally.
The saxophone killer, man. Maybe that's what we do in the sequel. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
yes.
We should have done an after credits sequence where you're just playing saxophone in his house, dancing around. The hitman's playing saxophone, and I could have written the whole thing.
Oh man,
it's all right.
That's the second end credit sequence.
You gotta ask, man. You gotta ask if I can play saxophone.
Yeah, from now on, every film I do, I ask everyone, can you play the saxophone?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you can, we're going to add it to the score. But I already did, though. There's more stock music coming soon, and it has saxophone in it.
yeah. Go to Spotify and find Ben Worley, and then listen to the Pizza Time soundtrack, and then the Menu, which is the
Listen to
remix
Menu.
album.
Some good stuff in there.
Ryan, can you tell? Well, we'll wrap this up pretty soon, but can you tell us, going back to the beginning of all this, tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
the prep that you know, aside from the script, obviously, but between script and shooting time, you as an artist, how do you make the thing come alive in your head?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in like getting people excited about your movie and wanting to collaborate with you is like one of the biggest things about being a director is like establishing the tone that you want to, communicating the tone that you want to create in your film, and just getting people, excited about it. And so I love making treatments and sort of little lookbooks and tone book kind of things. So I made a really long extensive treatment for this, in addition to the script that has mood board, that has sort of like director's statement, has like a inspiration playlist for music, all these things, location references,
Yeah, I remember that.
Character references for like what I imagine them looking like, all this stuff, and really going through the list of everything that's going into the film, and having it with this. I actually I just made a website that was like I think pizzatimeshort.com at the time, before it became the official website of the film. It just housed all the stuff. That's really important. Every film that I make, I always make at least like a PDF treatment that has these things, because as a director, you're really like, it's all about the taste, your taste and what you want in your film, and communicating that and the tone to your collaborators. And really, it just goes back to you having, being able to make those decisions when people start asking you questions once you actually get to the production phase. Because sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I completely cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because, getting, having that stuff in your head and being really well researched, with even going back to like references for films, there's a long list of films that I had for reference that I could, if anybody asked, hey, what kind of film are you trying to make? I can just send them a list of films that are, the comps, so to speak. I mean, that's a lot of my work in prep is that stuff. And then obviously shot listing to film. I actually didn't do an extensive storyboard on this film. I usually do, but on this one, Daniel, the DP, he really loves being in on the storyboard process, and I didn't want to, do it without him. So I shot listed the film, and then we went the first, location. We actually took storyboard photos with, just like an iPhone app that, it's a director viewfinder kind of app. But all that kind of stuff really goes into the prep once the script is done, and as we, edit the script. That way, once we actually start production, my crew has a clear vision, and if they don't, they can ask the question to me, and I immediately know the answer to that question and can answer those questions, because big part of being a director is just answering questions and having a clear vision, because producers and your crew, they want a director that can be that has a vision and can not hold up the shoot by not knowing what they want. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my prep. I'm sure I just barfed out a bunch of random answers, but
He also brought me in as a composer, even though maybe not intentionally, or no, intentionally. He brought me in as a composer really early, like way before, like right before we did the Kickstarter, and I did music for the Kickstarter. It's on the album, and I didn't write a whole lot of music between the beginning of pre-production to like when we started post. I didn't really write a whole lot of music. I might have done a demo, but because I had that, I had like 2 or 3 months just to think about it, and just to like for us to discuss it and to like listen. I listened to the music and I picked out what synth and stuff and how I was going to do stuff, and I fiddled with things, and it was really helpful once I actually got to start on the music. I already knew the film like really well, and we already knew the scenes, and obviously I was in it and that helped. But I mean, if I wasn't in it, he brought me in way early, which which paid off musically.
And that isn't that
Totally.
the approach that John Carpenter took, because he was also a composer on his films, and his music feels like it's a character in the movie. It's like it exists.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the location. It's a character in the movie because it's all kind of integrated at the same time. Versus a traditional process, which is we make the movie and then we might put temp music in, maybe not. We give it to the composer. The composer does the soundtrack
Yeah.
over the top, and then it's done. So it's
Well, my
purely
original
reactive.
pitch to him when we talked over the phone was, you should, if they're in a house, you should have the guy who owns the house own like a Sonos system, so where he like that he accidentally knocks right at the beginning of the fight. So as they go room to room, there's different styles of music in each room because he has this awesome speaker system in his house. That was my original idea.
I forget that. I forgot about that idea. Yeah, that would have been fun.
We never, obviously didn't do it, but
Yeah. Real quick, this is a total tangent, but I just watched Assault on Precinct 13 the other day. It was like the last John Carpenter film that I hadn't seen.
That's great.
And it's a great film, but I thought it was so funny. There's like one song in that whole soundtrack that it plays like over and over.
Yeah.
Basically, whenever he uses music, he just plays the one track, like a different version of the same track.
Yeah.
And it works so well, but it's almost like
works.
looking back, it's like kind of funny, but also like super cool. Anyways, that's just John Carpenter geek out.
well, Pizza Time has that like the whole time. It's brought up many
Which I love.
times.
Yeah. Just to show how much you can get away with by just exploiting a theme, and if the theme works, I mean, look at the Pink
In
Panther
music,
movie.
that's called
Totally.
theme and variation.
Yeah, exactly. You like some soundtracks you buy and it's one song. Maybe one extra one off to the side, but it's mostly just one song. All right, so I wanted to do just a quick, quick Q&A about your favorite moment or most memorable moments from the shoot. So Ryan, what was your most memorable moment from the shoot? It could be a funny story or whatever sticks out the most to you.
That's a tough one because I feel like there's so many, but I mean,
There's a million.
I think I don't want to steal one of yours, but I had two. One was, Eric, when you were falling down the stairs, I was up there with you kind of talking through, how we're going to shoot it. Before you'd done the full stair fall, we were doing just a few shots from above of Ben kicking you and you just falling onto basically a bunch of pads. But we had like half the crew down there holding like couch pillows, a few like stunt pads.
Yeah, the grip guys were there, the camera guys
yes.
were in there, I think the homeowners were in there too. Everybody was there.
Yes, everybody just like holding. It was like 300, like holding the line. And just for you falling down, I love that because everybody was getting so into it and like doing this thing together. But then, I mean, how could you not love the like when you fell into the table? That was another one where just because that was like the big stunt of the shoot, we had like basically everybody. Typically on our during production, we'd have just basically whoever we need there, in the room with us shooting, and whoever wasn't needed at that moment was in another room so that we could focus on shooting. But for that shot, like everybody was in the room watching the monitors and like wanted to be in the room to see this, this fun stuff. Because I mean, a lot of the crew works on, commercials, or if they do films, it's usually a drama or a comedy, just like locally. Not a ton of action films shooting in Dallas. And so they wanted to be in the room for a stunt, and that was just this high energy moment and a moment that, making, action comedies, it's like those are the kind of moments where I feel like it's super fun to just be in the room and feel the energy and Ben, I think you were hiding behind the chair the whole time. Had to
was
like
probably one of my
listen to
favorite
it
moments.
happen and hope that
That was probably the most control I've ever had in my life, because you went over and it was so silent, and then it was like you guys just told me wait a few seconds and get up and do the rest of the scene, the rest of the shot, and just you landed, and I just thought like, this is weird. Like it's so quiet, and I gotta get up and act. It was weird.
Yeah, so that's probably my favorite moment. But
The whole shoot was awesome. literally like,
Also, I mean,
amazing memory.
there's so many. I mean, rehearsing in Freddie Poole's gym.
Yeah, thank you, Freddie.
If you call it rehearsing, it was more just fun. Like, man, you getting trained in some basic
Martial arts.
combat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
that was so fun.
I want footage of that.
Ben, what was your favorite moment?
I really liked the kitchen sequence that we shot was the first thing that I had. It's the first thing I scored. It's probably not the first thing I sent him, but it's the first thing I scored, and it's the first track I thought of, and I thought of it on set because I thought, oh, this should be like just percussion. I knew like, oh, this moment right here is where everything breaks and everything. Now this is a chase scene. So I remember when we were getting into the kitchen to shoot it, I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do for this, like musically, and I had it in my head. And so it was more fun for me to act that scene out because I kind of knew already. I knew in my head what it was going to feel like and look like. And then I remember when they shot the scene, the shot of you grabbing this crazy lens flare and it pans. And that shot, I was like, oh, this is just so cool. Yeah. And then we did the knife thing. There was a lot of like really funny moments. And I remember there are like 3 big stunts that me and Eric practiced a lot ahead of time. And the sneeze thing or not the sneeze, the thing right before it. It's the track is called the sneeze. It's where you're holding me in the arcade. The arcade sequence, we practiced a ton of how we were going to block that, how we were going to do it. And to actually do it and for it to pay off, it was really fun and it was really cool. Like, it was just really cool doing it. There's nothing quite like doing something that feels very dangerous and very like scary, fighting another person and fighting to your death, and then someone yelling cut, and then you're like, all right, yeah, cool, let's do it again. Really, it's a strange feeling to be like, yeah, cool, I'm down for you to just strangle me one more time. Let's just keep doing it until
I'm down for it too.
That was, I mean, I remember that a lot. I remember the arcade the most, I feel like, just because it was really fun.
Yeah.
What about you, Eric?
I think my favorite moment was when I flew in for the prep week. I came in for 3 days of prep, and I was reading the script, and I have these thoughts in my head about gags, and when I land, I immediately get off airplane mode and I start texting Ryan, "Hey, what if we had this?" We had a gag with a cat, which because we thought there'd be a cat at the location, and then we ended up changing locations, but. This, and then we were texting back and forth, and I'm texting with him as I'm going through the terminal. I was like, what if and I put my phone down, I saw you, and I said, yeah, what if we just do like a cat bell, right? We just kind of continued the gag writing, with total continuity. And like those are the times when you get inspired. There's a word.
So fun.
You just get inspiration in weird times. You don't get inspiration when you want it. You get it when you're doing the dishes or when you're, walking upstairs 2 days later, right? So being able to capture those and also having the ability to actually execute them, because I mean that's the other part of this is that we went through a location change which could have been devastating. But because we were so flexible, I mean, we kind of, we had that moment where I was like, oh, we lost the location, we got to push things, but we got this new location, and it looks better, and it's way cooler. It's got these extra, it's going to work out. And I'm thinking, okay, we have 18 beats of action right now, and we have to somehow, like, squeeze that into this location and see where it lands. And literally, we just kind of walked through the whole thing. And again, it's grabbing those ideas right away when they're fresh. And we did it.
Yeah.
Those moments those moments of inspiration are always what stick out.
Totally. Yeah, I love that moment.
Well, guys, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, guys. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for being part of the premiere. Thank you all for watching and your questions. It was a lot of fun. I know there haven't been a whole lot of short films on this channel lately. It's because times are changing, things are changing, and they're coming back. Don't worry, there will be more content about Pizza Time. We're gonna have a behind the scenes, some outtakes. Ryan's promised me that he's gonna send me all this stuff, including all the raw
Yes.
footage, and I'm gonna put it all on. I'm just kidding. We'll put
We're gonna have the script, the raw footage.
Yeah,
All of it.
we'll put the sanctioned pieces of media up, and all right.
I have one last question because I can't remember. Ryan, was there any piece of music you had me replaced at all? Like, well,
No,
I feel like it was.
See,
I can't
I mean,
think of a single time
we-
where we disagreed on anything.
no, we definitely like developed such